The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio. From hot dogs to cool kitties, this is Darkside of the Pooch.
Welcome back to the dark side of the Pooch. He is Dr. Rad Stewart, 208-0301, 208-0301, rockwoodvet.com. You can find him on the website, of course, Facebook, your social media platforms. He is the owner of the Rossburg Animal Hospital. I'm Tony Curry. He is Dr. Rad, and we do our show every week. And it's brought to you by our fine folks, Sasquatch Toys and Comics. I've been repeatedly getting questions about why does a comic store place do an endorsement for a pet place. And first of all, it kind of makes sense to me, but I guess it doesn't. Seth Cosby, who's the owner of Sasquatch Toys and Comics, because Sasquatch could be considered a pet, is what I'm saying, right? I mean, it's an animal. And I imagine you could, if you had one. But anyway, he used to own Ed's Pet World, and that's where we made the connection there. And then, of course, that place went up in Bluey's, and now he, of course, has Sasquatch, and it's doing very well, over 300,000 comics. And he will join me on ABC 3340 this week. So if you want to get a chance, check out his store and some of the wonderful toys he does. I had a friend of mine that was looking for the Evel Knievel. You know the jumper thing, the thing you used to wind up and you hit the button and the motorcycle used to go flying up? Everyone used to have one of those. They used to be like the toy, 1976, 77, like that. I had a friend of mine was looking for one, and boom, like 2 days later, he's like, I got one for him, fresh in the box, $80. He himself a brand new Evel Knievel toy.
You can be your own Evel Knievel. There's
a show on the History Channel. It's Henry Winkler, i.e. the Fonz, who does, they've got the world's craziest, the world's scariest, the world's finest, the world's deadliest, the world, whatever, for the History Channel. And he does something about the world's most weirdest toys or something like that. I don't know. And the episode this past week had lawn jarts on it.
Oh gosh!
And I was, you're just waiting, and because I've not heard anything about lawn jarts, and I think I still have some lawn jarts downstairs, just because I knew that they were so deadly for so long. But to think about some of the things that we used to have back in the day, everything from telephone box stuffing to people sitting on poles to lawn jarts to they had this stuff I found the other day in Publix where you could make your own bubbles. You know these things that you make your own bubbles. It's you take the little, it's toxic. It's like a toxic thing, and you put it at the end of a bubble, and you suck on it, and you can make your own bubble, and it makes a bubble, and you can keep it. And of course, the tube is so small now, but they used to come in a big fat tube. And of course, you're sucking on this stuff, and it's toxic. It's got toxic stuff in it where you can actually get cancer from it. They had a Geiger counter. You could have actually bought a Geiger counter with radiation-filled rocks, back in the 70s. It was crazy. Anyway, I think the strangest thing we had, me growing up, which was probably dangerous besides the lawn jarts, was I don't know, like the erector set maybe, which was kind of like you had metal pieces to it that you probably could have swallowed or jammed or killed somebody with maybe. I don't know. What was the weirdest toy you had growing up that was like, wow, this could be dangerous now?
I think with the erector, you could create like a little finger guillotine somehow. Probably either by design or accident. They had you could make little catapults with it. It would open up like this, a little ball would go in and then it would close, then you could throw it. That's probably it. And then you could knock somebody's eye out with that thing.
Yeah.
Throw those balls around.
Yeah.
I had to, we lived on a lot of acres, and there was always a rundown barn somewhere. So my most dangerous toys were like boards with rusty nails in them. Used there you go. Who knows what? So we were always messing around. But I used to love the. Did you ever watch the show Storage Wars?
Oh yeah.
So I used to. My wife and I, we used to watch that show religiously. I mean, so much has changed with TV and technology in the last 15 years, But 15 years ago, everyone still had DirecTV or cable,
One or
and
the other.
probably even
Yeah.
yeah, even some people maybe still had TiVo. All of TiVo was probably running out of gas back then.
Sling
And
was
so
out too.
yeah, yeah.
Sling,
But
yeah.
you were kind of at the mercy of whatever a DirecTV wanted to show still, like 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And so we would record Storage Wars every week, and we just like loved it. Some of the stuff that they pulled out of those little storage huts, I mean, I loved it. But then you find out that the show's all fake. It's all made up.
See, and I know when I hear about, listen, you have to realize that in a perfect world, you have to set things up. Like, believe it or not, in radio, like when you're starting a new radio show, you actually call your friends to make sure they're calling the show to make it look like there's listeners. I mean,
Sure.
this is something we always done. People are like, really? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we used to have like 15 or 20. Okay, I need you to call at 7:15, you at 7:25. So we'd have callers calling in, and we act like we wouldn't know who they were until we got off the ground. And then obviously we do that. But yeah, that fake stuff will kill you. I know like Pawn Stars. I know there's some things that are hitched on that, but for the most part, they've got people that just want to be on the show and they don't necessarily even want to sell their crap. They're just looking to be able to tell the story behind what some of this stuff is. We
Yeah.
actually got a Tommy Lee Jones autographed Cobb hat. He was here for that Cobb movie,
Yeah.
that Ty Cobb movie. And at the end of filming, he flipped it out into the crowd, and a dear friend of mine got it. And then she went down and had it autographed, and it's you can pull it up and see he's actually wearing the hat. So it was a movie prop, and I've called them and said, sure, but I had to be out in Vegas at the time, and then they get me on the show and do the thing. They don't pay anybody anymore, but so yeah, some of that stuff is rigged up, and that makes it
Yeah.
unfortunate. But that is between storage joints and car washes. There is it's such a waste of land right now. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about car washes. We actually went up to the Easy Clean, that's Kleen, up in Killen, Alabama. I went up there this past Friday with my son. He loves the Fusion X car wash up there. It's the only one in the state. So we drove over 2 hours to get up there. We stopped by Buc-ee's on the way back in Athens. And we go up there, and I was like, what is up with the car washes? There's car washes popping up all over the place. I mean, there's one like almost every other mile now. And there was one down here on 280 that changed names 3 times in 6 weeks. And now I think they settled on the Big Drip car wash. It was Goo Goo, then it was the Wet Boys, then it was 3 guys in a car wash, and now it's the Big Drip. And I'm like, what's going on? And he told me that these private equity firms are coming in and buying the land and putting the car wash on it because they are very equitable. Do you know what it costs? You're talking $15 now for a car wash, right? $15 is average. That's unless you buy like a $35 membership where you go the ultra, which is $20. But for the most part, they're trying to sell you on the membership because if you pay $45, you think, well, hell, all I got to do is get my car washed 3 times in a month, and I'll do that. You don't get your car washed 3 times in a month. I don't think I washed my car the entire last summer. But do you know what it costs to wash a car in a car wash?
48 cents.
$1.50. So you're talking $13.50 a car. You can run 6 cars in an hour. You do the math. A good car wash can make $20,000-$30,000 a month if there's not a lot of rain. We haven't been getting a lot of that. And so they build these places, they sell them out, and then they either get it and realize it ain't worth it, and they end up selling it to another car place or another car place, another car. And then the original private equity firm owns the land it's on. And so all they do is they're making the lease. You have to pay them rent for the land. So rather than just have land that sits there and does nothing, they're building something on it. Someone's buying into the building, and then you're paying the lease to own the land. It's like renting a home. So
It's such a scam. It's such a scam, and like
it is.
the only time I am so. If I can do something myself, I'm going to do it. I mow my own grass. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't have
I
a
do
lawn
too.
guy.
I don't either.
It's super easy to do. It is a pain, but it's easy to do.
Good exercise.
Because it's good exercise. I wash my car at home
Mm-hmm.
because yes, it takes probably an hour and a half. My wife's got this, an expedition, and I vacuum it out and I clean it up probably once a month. But it's like I cannot, for what I will, what I'm paying for time and my water bill. That's nothing.
No,
It's just it drives me insane.
no, every Sunday, that was my job to clean the cars. We had three cars.
Mhm.
We had the Buick, we had a Marquis, and then we had my dad's van. And that's what I did every Sunday. And I put
And
the
it looks
radio.
better when I do it.
It does. It always does. And you know why? It feels better. I remember cutting the grass on Sunday and then pulling out of my driveway at 4:30 in the morning to go to work up at the classic rock station, the sports station. And as I pulled out, my headlights would hit the top of the grass that I had just cut the day before. And I was like, look how beautiful that is, man. It looks like the Masters. It looks beautiful. I mean, because I did it myself, take some pride in that. But yeah, but that being said, I did have a lawn service here at this new place I'm at for like the first 2 years. It was really nice not having to cut some grass after about 2 years, but then they just stopped. And so all of a sudden I started cutting my own grass. So, yeah, we're so into convenience. And then all we do is complain that we're broke. I mean,
Yeah.
we got people buying our groceries now. By the way, the ship people, those people are just rude as hell. We used to go into
Never
grocery
done it.
stores and talk to people and have conversations, and you used to know who your butcher was. You used to know who checked you out. You knew the person who was back in the flower department and getting sandwiches. You know them by first name. Now you got people running in, running out. They got the first 8 spots. It's pouring down rain. They got the first 8 spots at every Publix or every Winn-Dixie or wherever you're shopping. So you have to park way out in nobody's land because of these knuckleheads that are buying all these bags of crap that they get for it. It drives me crazy. Uber. My daughter tonight, can I get Uber for Taco Bell? And I said, I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
She meant $17 for 4 soft tacos and a Baja Blast. And I was like, $17 for 4 soft tacos and a Baja Blast. Because she didn't want to get her lazy ass brother up to go up get it for her, and it was too far away. I was like, I'm not going to get it for you if that's what you want to spend. And then, we're broke. So, damn, people sound like a bunch of old men, don't we? Huh?
We are. All
right,
That's what
tell
we
me what's
are.
going on at the shop, man. What's been happening there? I've been trying to find some good, juicy tidbit stuff. I got a couple of emails I want to get into, but what's been going on there at Rossbridge Animal Hospital?
We had a case. Dogs are always getting like tumors, and they've gotten tumors for as long as I've been doing this, which is let's see how many, 15 years. Yeah, 15 years.
Wow.
But they get this really strange tumor. So if you think about it, and this is not something that you would really spend much time thinking about. So if you think about your intestines, they're just kind of in there floating, they're just floating in your belly.
Yeah.
But they have to have an anchor. They have to have an anchor. So in dogs, they have this tissue.
The tumor has to have an anchor.
Well, the intestines do. The
Okay.
intestines have to have an anchor. They don't just they're not. It's not just attached like at your mouth and your butt.
Yeah.
It has an anchor in your abdomen. So dogs, their anchor. If you picture a dog, it's on all fours. Okay, their anchor, the intestines are basically they're suspended from their back. Their back inside their abdomen. They're suspended from up there. It's almost like a chandelier, but instead of having the chandelier, it's like a bunch of intestines, hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So if you need to access a part of the intestine, most of the intestines can be accessed. You make an incision in their belly, and you can move a bunch of stuff around. You can take stuff out. You can look at it like it's a shoelace. But then there's a portion of the intestines that you cannot reach because they are attached to that anchor, like at the dog's back. Okay. So what that anchor is called is the root of the mesentery. And it makes sense because mesentery is basically another word for the GI tract in a rudimentary way, but the mesentery, and you have the root. Okay, that's where it comes from. But dogs can get this crazy tumor at the root of the mesentery, and it's basically inoperable because you cannot reach it. Because to do the surgery, I told you to picture the dog on all fours, so that way you could kind of think where the root of the mesentery was. But when you're doing the surgery on the dog, now you picture the dog on its back.
Okay.
So you make the incision on the belly, and you're, trying to find this tumor that you see on X-ray or you see on ultrasound or whatever, trying to find it to see if you can remove it. Well, if it is at that root of the mesentery, you can't reach it because there's intestines that are down there, and in order to get the tumor out, you would have to remove a section of the intestine and then sew the edges back to each other. But if you can't get down there to where that tumor is attached to the intestine, you can't remove it. So it's a pretty, I mean, it's not something that you see, once a month or anything, but occasionally you'll get one of these, tumors at the root of the mesentery, and it's unfortunate because it's basically an inoperable tumor.
Do we do anything as pet owners to give our animals tumors or cancer? Is there anything? I mean, we obviously have things that sometimes you're just going to get a tumor, sometimes you just get cancer, but there are also a lot of different things that we can ingest that cause cancer. But is there anything we're doing to our pets by giving them different things outside dog food? Or, I mean, I'm assuming if you're a big dope smoker and you're constantly smoking in the house, you could give your dog lung cancer, I guess. I don't know. Is there anything we do that would give our animals health issues?
There are some medications out now that do not cause cancer, but they will, if the dog is prone to cancer, they will get cancer sooner, or they will get their tumor will get bigger faster. There are some medications that we give dogs where that can happen. But the way that I explain it to owners is that if your dog's going to get cancer, it's going to get cancer. This medication doesn't cause cancer. It just kind of speeds it up. Or if there are tumors, it causes them to grow faster.
So that is a drawback or a symptom of this particular product. But it doesn't give them cancer. It just says if they do get cancer, then it'll quicken the process. That's
and then there's other things that we like, the way that we alter pets. So if there's an increased incidence of cancer in large or giant breed dogs that are neutered before they're a year old. So and for whatever reason, that testosterone in male dogs keeps them from getting certain cancers if they have that testosterone in their body for the first 12, 16 months they're alive.
Do dogs, male dogs, this is very interesting that you brought it up. Testosterone. That's one of the things as we get older, we lose. That goes along with our hair growth, our sexual libido, all kinds of different things. We're not as active as we used to be. It's just a natural part of our being. It also has something to do with the caloric intake that we take. We used to be able to take 3,000 calories a day and not worry about anything. And now if I feel like I look at a piece of chocolate cake, I'm going to gain 15 pounds. I sound like my mother. But at 60, it's hit me pretty good. But are dogs like that too as they get older? What are some of the things that dogs and or cats go through that humans go through as we get older in age? Balding, male pattern baldness, impotence?
Well,
some things.
Their metabolism slows down, but no, they don't. I mean, as far as like ED stuff, that doesn't really. So few dogs are intact by the time that they get to be old dogs. So I mean, they probably. I would imagine that they would go through that, but we don't have enough intact dogs for me to be able to tell you.
What do you mean intact?
So dogs that aren't neutered.
Okay.
If your dog's not neutered, they're intact.
I gotcha.
So, the libido stuff, I mean, I'm sure that happens, but we just don't see enough of it for me to be able to tell you, one way or another. But their metabolism slows down. That's why all dogs get fatter, the older they get. Their thyroid, dogs are real prone to having an inactive thyroid, and that leads to a lot of weight gain and lethargy. So that's a big one. Inactive thyroid, this metabolism stuff.
We had a conversation a couple of years ago, and it was when I was walking my dog. It was really hot. Yesterday it got to like 87, but the humidity was pretty low. It was hot. It was the hottest day we've had in a while. Yeah. But it wasn't hot. The pavement wasn't steaming hot. And he kept pulling me towards the shade. It's about 50-50, half shade, half sun. It was, I mean, we were out there getting exercise, so it was a little uncomfortable, but he kept pulling me towards the shade, and it's not like him to do that. And so I allow him to go in the shade, and he would just slump down and lay there. And my dog's in great shape. We walk 3.5, 4 miles every day. Um, I feed him well. He's in good shape. And he needs to come in for just his annual. Um, but he didn't want to get up. And I was like, "Come on, buddy." And we were about a mile away from the house. I was like, I wanted to get home. I was getting hot and tired myself, and I was ready to come home, have me some iced tea, and watch some television. And I kept trying to pull him, and he wouldn't get up off the ground. And finally, I said, "Let's go." And then he ended up getting up. But I almost felt bad. I'm thinking to myself, is he trying to tell me something? Is he trying to tell me that I mean, he's 9. I mean, he's not old, or is it just part of getting old? He's just getting old and he just doesn't want to move. He just wants to relax. And should I let him lay there until he's ready to get up?
Yeah, yeah. If you have time to do that, or you can, tell him to get his, lazy self up and let's get going. But dogs slow down as they get older. They just do. They don't run as much. They don't jump as high. They don't have the same energy that they used to. And we tell people that if your dog's experiencing that, it could be a natural sign of aging, but there could be something else going on. But that's why you come in and get the wellness stuff done.
Yeah.
We do the exam, we run the blood work, and if everything checks out, then we just say, yeah, it's probably just a normal sign of aging and getting older, because that's a fact. It just happens. But we also don't want to say that, oh, it's just old age, because sometimes there is something wrong that we can fix.
I didn't think in a million years that I would actually be able to go longer than my dog. I'm 60. Like we went out the other day and I was like, I was just going to walk until I couldn't walk anymore. And we got about 6 miles in and it was everything I could. I was like, I'm not carrying you.
Oh no.
And he was like, but I mean, I just cannot, then he slept really good. But then, again, if I chingy his little thing, he would have jumped right back up and probably wanted to go right back outside again. Because he's
Yeah.
just so used to, knowing that he wants to go on a walk. And he's sitting by my side right now waiting to go out on our walk today. And I'm like, let's get it on. Hey, we were talking about, he's Dr. Rab Stewart, by the way, Rossbridge Animal Hospital. They're the best. He just mentioned he's been in business for over 25 or 15 years, just doing his own thing. 10 years at your location?
10 years. Yeah.
10 years, yeah. 208-0301. They're the best, man. If you want to get the best care, they're just wonderful. They've done so many wonderful things, not only for our listeners here on Darkside the Pooch, but for me personally and the Curry family. They do wonderful work. We were talking about robot dogs. Listen, there are some things where sometimes we break some things on this show that even Dr. Rab doesn't know about. We do some research on these things. But we were talking about robot dogs, and then we were talking about this study where, and I think the answers to that study are going to be out sometime early 2028 on this dog pill that's supposed to allow animals to live longer. And again, there's a lot of research that's going into this. Do we have to give this animal? When do we start giving it the pill? Do we give it to it? How often do we give this pill? How long does the animal actually live? Do you want your animal to live another 2 years if it's already living to be 15? What is the progress of life like, from 15, 16, and 17, particularly if, quite frankly, they're, starting to get incontinent and they're having issues. You don't want to keep an animal alive when it doesn't want to be alive. It's the worst thing you can do for it. So, but I mean, if somehow we're reversing the aging of an animal, I'm all about it. I think that's great. So I asked my son, who I think is going to be he's the president's dean's list. He's a junior at Clemson. He's going in to be a senior. He's probably going to go to grad school. I said, within the next 2 generations, a generation 17 years, within the next 2 generations of dogs, do you think we'll start having dogs that can live like almost as long as we want them to? And he said, yeah, I think by then, with what we got going on, with what we did with COVID and what we're doing with cancer and all this other thing, I think we'll get to a point where we can have a 25-year-old dog, no problem. And I was like, really? I said, I'm going to have to ask Doctor, because if we can do it with our pets, you know what's coming next. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it sounds like that with this new medication that they're going to have come out. I mean, it does make some sense because it inhibits growth factors. And when you get to a certain age, you don't really need the growth factors anymore. The growth factors actually hinder,
Yeah.
you, because it ages you. So, I don't, but there hasn't really been a breakthrough like this maybe ever, I mean, we can treat certain diseases. Humans can treat diseases. We can treat cancer. We can, stave off organ failure, and we can.
Where do you put the weight loss drug scene right now in the grand scheme of what we've done medically? I think it's a miracle. I mean, we now have a magic pill that you can take. Now, it doesn't make the fat go away. You have to go through the process of just not eating, but you just don't want to eat. You're just not hungry. And there lies the difference. And I never thought we'd see something where I knew you could do like a pound of Coke a week and not be hungry. I got that. But I didn't know there'd be a medicinal, pill that is probably by the end of the year, you're going to be able to buy it over the counter and take it like aspirin. And it really does. It changes the way you eat your thing. But where would you put that at, the semaglutide thing, as far as medicinal findings in our life? Because I think it's like amazing.
I do too. I wonder, anytime something new comes out, I wonder what the trade-off is. You know, what's it really doing to your body? Like in the short term, it's helping you. What's it doing in the long term? And it's just like that medication that we talked about at the start of the show. What like that medication that we give dogs that doesn't cause cancer, but if you're going to get cancer, it can, make it speed up a little bit. So like
Yeah.
what's the trade-off?
Yeah, I think we're still waiting for that. I mean, when we came out with Viagra was not an ED medication, neither was Cialis. It was a medicine to create blood flow in the entire part of the body. I'm actually on Cialis right now for my prostate. It has nothing to do with erectile dysfunction. Thank goodness I don't have that going for me. Of course, it's not being used anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. So I told someone I'm on Cialis. I go, "Oh, you're back out there." I'm like, "No." They gave me Cialis and of course, it doesn't work unless you want it to work. But we came to find out that the medicine's making 800 times more for that than it was for its original purpose. I remember when we came out with Olestra. Do you remember Olestra? About
No.
15 years ago, it made potato chips fat free. Olestra, and they still have it, but you look up, but the drawbacks were it gave you incredibly bad gas. It gave you the squirts, but you could eat an entire bag of Lay's potato chips, and it was like 30 or 40 calories and it was they had fat in them. The body did not process the fat; it passed it through the body, and it was called Olestra. And I remember thinking, wow, I can eat all the potato chips I want. I thought everything's going to be made with Olestra. Unfortunately, it just screws up your GI tract. That's what the semi-glutides are doing too, because it actually paralyzes your GI tract. And if you're having like IBS issues or any issues down in that part of your body, you're in some trouble because it suspends everything down there, and you don't go for 3 or 4 days. And because of that, you also feel like you're a lot fuller than you probably actually are. You're just not pooping. Which is another situation that could be a little uncomfortable. Now I think it's interesting. I think we need to be careful, like you and I have talked about as Christians. I think you need to be careful whenever you mess with Mother Nature. When you're messing with God stuff and you're trying to get things to live longer. Then that being said, I know God created men to be scientists and to do better things for our life, and He gave us this life to live. But I just don't think. I mean, even the Bible says, I think it says somewhere in there about 100 to 120. We're not meant to be Moses. We're not meant to be here for 800 or 900 years. And I think there's a good reason for that. So that's probably why it is what it is. But I do know some people that would love to have animals, pets, last for 25 or 30 years because the loss of the pet is tough. It's really rough.
Yeah,
Especially
a
when
good
there's,
one.
yeah.
The good
No.
one, but some people have bad animals, and I don't think they want to keep them around for 30 years.
There's no doubt. All right. Anything else going on? Tell me. We got just a couple minutes left. Amazing our conversations. Someone emailed. I love the conversations that you and Dr. Rab talk about. I love the rabbit holes. Is what they call them, rabbit holes. I guess we go off on some things. I'm going to let you give me a dream. Give me a good dream you've had lately.
Dreams can be really like terrifying, when you're in them. And then, but I had one recently that I'm at my house, and we live on a busy street, and we have young kids, and we have a dog. So we have a fence that, it keeps keeps our kids in the backyard. Okay.
Mhm.
But in my dream, um, some people, they keep like knocking my fence down very aggressively, and they're throwing things like through the fence, breaking the, making the doors not work to the fence and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And but I can't figure out why. It's so aggressive, and the people are so menacing. You know how dreams, like, just people's faces and people's actions can just be
Mhm.
so menacing, and you cannot put it into words. Like, I cannot. When you are dreaming the dreams, you feel it, you
Yeah.
see it, you feel it. When you're trying to explain to somebody, it doesn't translate. You can't translate the fear of a dream. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is, like, I'm in that dream and I am fearing for my life. It's almost like the sensation of you have a mob coming after you. You have a mad mob coming after you, and they are going to tear you limb from limb. And this is the feeling that I'm getting in the dream. But the other interesting thing about the dream is my kids are out there, and they're of course terrified too. But in the dream, I'm not their dad. I'm their brother.
Oh wow. Okay, this is weird, man. That's out there.
So I'm their brother, and I'm trying to like take care
Now,
of them.
do you realize in the dream that you are their brother? Or do you, in the dream, do you actually think you're their brother? Or see, I have dreams like I'm the brother in the dreams, but I know overall I'm really their father. But in the dreams, I'm their brother. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll play along. That
No,
makes sense.
I did not in the dream. I did not realize that I was really their dad. In their
Yeah.
dream, it wasn't like a lucid dream where the dream tells you one thing, but your brain tells you the other.
Yeah.
So
That's
in the
wild.
yeah, because it wasn't until after I woke up where I start to like unpack all the feelings of the dream, because that's sometimes what it takes to really figure out what's going on.
Mhm.
And so anyway, I'm trying to protect them, and I'm like trying to ward all these people off. And so then they finally leave. They finally leave, and this old lady pulls up in a car. But in the dream, I somehow know that she is the leader of all these people that have been trying to like get into our house. And she gets out like very slowly and like walks up to the gate, and then she just stands there and looks at me.
Man.
And I say, "Why are you doing this?" Like, because in the dream, I know that we did nothing. Like
Yeah.
in the dream, we did nothing to provoke this. And so, why are you doing this? And like the oldest, like, picture, like, I don't know if you ever read Stephen King's The Stand, but there was a lady in that book that was basically like the godlike figure, and she was an ancient old woman that was like basically on the good side. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, envision that in this dream. And she puts her hands up and she just goes like this.
Ooh.
Come
Yeah.
here. So I walk up to her and she says, "You want to know why we're doing this?" And I said, "Yes, please. Why are you doing this? Why are you tormenting us?" She says, "I'll tell you why." And then I wake up.
You wake up. God. Man, that's wild, dude. That's deep. I mean, I wish I had some good dreams like that. But man, I've been having my dreams are just way out of there. I mean, I can't even make sense of my dreams. Like I'll have an
And that was
entire
a
yeah.
and that one that I'm telling you about what happened a few nights ago. The one I had last night, it was weird. I was in a flood. Like, it was like I was just in a flood. It
Do
was
you
wouldn't
eat
stop
before you go
raining.
to bed?
No. Mm.
Huh, that's bizarre.
Yeah, that
Sometimes I fall asleep in my recliner. Like if I wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm right there next to the kitchen. I'll get up and get it like something to eat. It just tastes so good, and I'll forget that I'm eating it. Right? I'll get like last night I got a bowl of ice cream, and like, did I have a bowl of ice cream last night? And I must have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, had a bowl of ice cream, and then I can't remember if I ever dreamt I had a bowl of ice cream or. But yeah, the dreams I'm having right now, man, are just like off the rails. It's the best way I could put it. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's like I had a dream last night that I got on the scales and I weighed 219. Okay, I don't even know what the hell that means. I've been trying to lose some weight. I'm trying to keep it around 210, and I remember getting on the scales thinking, "Oh man, I'm at 219," but just real menial doesn't mean anything. Dreams. Um, which I guess is not such a bad thing.
No, man, you don't want to have terrifying dreams like me.
No, I don't want to have the night sweats. So, all right,
I watched too many horror movies, man. Watched a great horror movie called Good Boy. You heard of that one?
I have heard of that one. Which one is that?
It.
That's who's
it's
in
the
that?
one with the dog. It's the one with the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one with the dog in it. It's all about the dog. It's all it is. And like, it's when you think about like how they had to train that dog to do all the stuff it does in that movie. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, I do remember that.
Good
yeah,
boy.
I need to go see him. My son told me this past week that he has not seen Animal House yet.
Oh wow!
And I was like, "Oh, promise me you do not see that without your dad." I said, "I want to go see that movie with you. I'm afraid it's not going to be nearly as funny as I know it is, because I know it's great. But it's one of those movies where every time you see it, it gets better and better and better and better and better because you remember parts of it. So yeah, and then I got another friend of mine that we were watching the PGA Championship this weekend, and he has never seen Caddyshack. I was like, dude, how in the world have you not seen Caddyshack? Even I've seen Caddyshack. Yeah, no doubt. All right, tell people how they can find you, my friend.
All right, you can call us 208-0301. You can email us rossbridgeanimalhospital@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook.
Always brought to you by Sasquatch Toys and Comics. Sasquatch Toys and Comics. If you want to come check out some of the most amazing toys, and it goes room after room after room. Citation Court there in Homewood. Seth and Ben, they do wonderful work. They travel the country doing Comic-Cons and all these things to bring you the best. Legos, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, all kinds of stuff. And he'll actually be on the show coming up this Saturday morning from 10:30, 11 o'clock on the starting lineup. He'll be in the studio coming up. You can ask some questions and take some questions as well. So we'll get that on with Sasquatch Toys and Comics, bringing you Darkside the Pooch. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
See you, bud.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.